Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends of the university sports movement, good afternoon. Let me welcome you to the last session of this conference with keynote speeches. My name is Renata Bolczuk, and I am a member of the Education Committee in FISU and also project manager for European institutions. And I have a pleasure today to chair this session together with my colleague from Taiwan, Professor Kao Jin Shou, President of Taiwan Sports University, who will moderate the part of questions and answers. And the session is dedicated to sports-friendly campuses. Our first keynote speaker comes from University of Taipei, so from here. Yesterday, most of us had a chance to experience something about the sports facilities at the University of Taipei. So now, today, we are looking to discover more about how the University of Taipei and its campuses managed to be so successful, so friendly towards sport. But apart from being a professor at the University of Taipei, because indeed he's a professor at Graduate Institute of Sports Pedagogy, our speaker is also member of Athletic Training and Counseling Committee in Chinese Taipei Weightlifting Association, as well as in Chinese Taipei Paralympic Association. What is more, he's also an excellent teacher, since he was awarded twice by the Ministry of Education for the excellence in his teaching, creativity, and research. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Professor Qian-Chi Shou.
Good afternoon, everyone. Dear Dr. Gao Junshou of the National Taiwan Sport University, Dr. Ren Ta, and Miss Donna. How are you, everyone? And distinguished guests. I'm Chen Chi Jiao. Most of people call me Chen, and I'm from the University of Taipei. And I'm very greatly honored to have this speech at this conference. The topic of this presentation is reconceptualize inclusion in Taiwan, friendly attitude towards students with disability. Now I'm going to share my research idea of this paper about exercise and sports related to executive function in physical education, which may impact disabled students active with typically developing children. As you know, learning disabilities are lifelong disability that affect a personal life and is characterized by significant differences in personal achievement. Disabled children may have one or more characteristics such as reading, writing, spelling, language disorder. Of course, some of them have mathematic memory perception problem. And some of them, they also have eye and hand coordination problem. And it is easily distracted and difficult while having to sit still. In some situations, like these pictures, school must have take positive steps so that disabled pupils can access and participate in school physical education, even in educational activities. they provide. It is very important to each individual to understand the area of strength and weakness so they can better explain their needs to others to ensure personal and social success for people with disability. It is very important and very interesting report from the Taiwanese government. The increased number of students with learning disability, or we can say disability, comprise the large single group of elementary and secondary students with disability. Receiving educational activity, including physical activity, classroom activity, or personal counseling and academic service support. According to the Ministry of Education in Taiwan, the number of students with disability are increased also. Let's see this PowerPoint. The numbers of students with learning disability or disability are increased around 30% of students from year 2004 to year 2014. So in year 2004, we only have around 5,600 disabled students, but increase year 2014, it was around 87 disabled students. So increase 30%. That is a pretty big number. So this situation raises some questions. What are the problems of executive function to affect their learning, which may link to their peer friendship? What are the attitudes of students with learning disability, with no learning disability towards students who have learning disability? Now I'm going to share the couple research results from literatures, of course from my study also. First of all, I would like to share exercise and sport related executive function for students with learning disability. Learning disability, frequently described as a neurobiological disorder of cognitive and language process caused by atypical brain functioning, and it's characterized by a consequence of brain dysfunction. The manner in which children with learning disability process and acquire information is so different from typically developing children. And most of the typically developing children who can learn without greater difficulty. So learning disability involves deficiencies in cognitive performance or motor functioning that adversely affected the ability to receive, understand, store, and respond to information. Resulting from learning disability, literatures tend to be distinctive for specific individuals, affecting a narrow range of skill and activity, are not due primarily to mental retardation, behavior disturbances, lack of opportunity to learn, or primary sensory deficiency. Besides, it is well-known academic learning consequences. Children with learning disability are associated with cognitive function and poor academic performance and achievement. For this reason, and because children with learning disability are marked of long history in activity, children with learning disability may be more likely to benefit from an exercise intervention than their active. It is also very interesting from my research finding and other research studies. physical activity and exercise and its executive function. Exercise can improve in measuring discrimination ability, consistency of response speed, vigilance, impulsive control. As we can see, these PowerPoint pictures, we design an experimental study. One group is co-exercise with 8 week moderate to high intensity of physical activity, and the other one is control group. They did not do any exercise, and we measure visual pursuit test and determination test. We can see the exercise group had significant higher performance in accuracy rate and reaction time than the control group. So according to the evidence supports literatures, physical activity in its executive function and promoting improvement against impulsivity and behavior distribution for special population, including ADHD, ASD, learning disability, or overweight children. So, research literature supports this idea. Physical exercise can be significant benefit for children who suffer from children with learning disability as an approach to restore their attention. Before I show you the video, let me explain the video content for you. It was very great experiences for all kids about the attitude toward disabled children in a school in New Taipei City. So classmates, they decided give last one round of their group rally race to their disabled classmate. His name is Zikai. In the last, before they graduate, each classmate ran with him and cheers for him. They did not care winning or losing. They just care about how to encourage disabled students can participate with them. So now, please pray.
新北市光荣国中的校庆运动会上，有班级为大家示范了一场完全超越胜负的接力赛。他们把班上行动不便的同学呢安排在最后一棒，全场聚焦在他身上，卖力冲刺，奔向终点。全班也陪着他跑。哇，这个同学还有许多的妈妈，他们都看了非常的感动。而这个同学呢，他叫做志凯啊，妈妈也为儿子挂上人生第1面奖牌。
校庆上的接力赛跑再普通不过，但对行动不便的志凯来说却很不容易，得用尽全力才能一步一步向前跑。无法参与班级比赛，但同学都看在眼里，决定在毕业前最后一次接力赛给他惊喜。比赛最后一棒交到志凯手上，为了不负众望，努力向前冲。全班同学都在一旁陪着他一起跑。不管被其他选手超越，志凯都不放弃，因为好朋友全都在为他加油打气。终于抵达终点，同学们全都冲上前拥抱他，胜负早就抛到九霄云外。志凯妈妈也上前替宝贝儿子挂上他人生的第1面运动奖牌。同学为了志凯创造专属独跑舞台，这段影片抛上网，短短4天感动6万多名网友。台大教授叶秉成也分。
Thank you. But why, when people with disability participate in sport or physical education, they treat not very friendly? I think most of us we don't understand how to deal with them. So that's why they have hard time to deal with us. For me, I think if disabled children improve their executive function by physical activity or participate in physical education, deal with their peer interaction, they could control vigilance and impulsive behavior. When they active with peers in physical education, they might have a higher quality friendship, and it will influence their future life. So now I'm going to share the idea about social institution interpreted attitude towards students with learning disability. According to Promise and their colleagues in year 2001, pedagogy and sociology in sport revealed a critique of ideological aspect of institution about towards to students with disability, critical of popular understandings of sport as a political activity. Sport pedagogists and sociologists have argued that sport and physical education are practices which are socially constructed within the culture in which they exist. And any adequate account of them must be grounded in an understanding of attitude and friendly towards students with disability. Students with learning disability in Taiwan being meaningfully integrated into daily physical activity in school attended by several legal mandates. However, they continue to struggle at the margins of school, of campus life for physical education. This picture I took it in Taipei Middle School for sport facility, for sport space. It was designed now very friendly and provide not enough accessible sport facilities. So that's why they have hard time struggle to participate in physical activity. And that's why most of disabled children, they did not have very strong fitness level. So, although schools have widely promoted their openness for inclusive practice, they will not discriminate against the student on the basis of attitude towards students with disability. The concept of what constitutes an inclusive community in or out of school has still not been adequately defined. So, right here, does our inclusion for attitude towards students with learning disability entail merely formality tolerance, or does our inclusion require the radical transformation of the normal function of school life in an effort to meaningfully embrace all difference? In addition, the definition of inclusion was accepted. What complication will this have for quality of life for physical activity to students with learning disability in school? So according to several studies, school physical education and sports programs promote student academic performance, improve health condition, develop leadership capability in teamwork. Based on these benefits, students' fitness condition and cognitive functions with a wide range of physical activity was provided by schools in the area of physical education and sport. However, the number of students with learning disability was significantly increased to attend school. These students participating in school physical education and sports still demonstrate low physical activity level. While a study by Histon in year 2003 reported positive effects of contact have been demonstrated in many domains, including attitude toward the student with disability. Attitude formed toward to students with disability can get through direct experiences, which may be better predictor of later behavior than attitude formed through indirect experiences. On the other hand, much of the literature on inclusion has addressed disabled athletic sport. That means the unique needs of disabled athletes. Nothing disabled athletes comprise only small percentage of disabled population. In this paper, we discuss those students with mobility impaired who are not identified as athletes, but who may benefit from participating in physical education and sport at school. More specifically, this paper is drawing on the theoretical perspective offered by the new field of disability study to discuss the challenge for attitude towards students with learning disability when disability is conceptualized. In other words, rather than asking mainstream society can accommodate, we foreground the challenge for attitude towards students with learning disability posed to this physical education and sport in school when examined from the vantage point of disability. So now I'm going to talk about change attitude to be friendly towards students with disability. In our educational environment, students with learning disability attach great importance to be treated sensitively and the same as anyone else. However, school teachers, even PE teachers, coaches behavior, their behavior their behavior towards students with learning disability has significant impact on their educational experiences. As I showed you before the video, while it will be of effect to other typically developing children towards disability. Based on the recommendation of National Disability Authority in year 2002, challenge negative societal attitude to students with learning disability can be engaged actively by promoting friendly campus. School and family can help students to understand and explain why and how disabled students have been marginalized and discriminated against based on understanding social construction of disability and impairment. We can draw attention to what needs to be done to eliminate negative behavior and attitude. Second, attitudes toward students with disability are complex, so intervention must be well range. Each intervention can bring to change positive behavior and attitudes toward students with disability, and how intervention interlink. Fourth, for reduce prejudice to students with learning disability, effective time including forming close friendship appear to be very effective in reducing prejudice. So I'll show you how to help us to understand, deal with disabled people. Next. A training program of students with disability awareness is required for all, but how to carry out is very important. 6. For this, I got some idea. The media play a key role in determining attitude and knowledge for responsible and non-determinatory. So that media culture becomes very important. Finally, promoting the value underpinning basic human rights required for development. Development is very important and it's very essential. However, schools are committed themselves to ensure that each person accesses the condition required to live as self-determining individual. So I'll show you the media, how they encourage people to get stronger confidence.
Because my parents told me I have to be responsible.
Because my first coach told me, you can do this.
Because my teacher helped me see the choices.
Because my coach treated me like everybody else.
Because my boss showed me how to do a good job.
Because a mentor believed in my potential.
Is why I am where I am today.
I'm swimming faster than I ever dreamed I could.
I discovered that I could work as an artist.
I led my high school team to 2 championships.
I am a valuable employee.
I have a career that I am passionate about.
I will be whatever I want to be.
What can you do?
What can you do?
Like all young people, youth with disabilities should grow up expecting to work and succeed.
Okay, so remember, keep in your mind, for me, they can do anything. If you give them a chance, there will be success. If we change our attitude and behavior also, treat them good, there will be success. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Zhou's nice presentations about the attitude, media training program promotion, and give them the chance they can do everything you think about the students with learning disability in campus. Now we have 15 minutes to take the questions from the audience. Please.
If I
You want to add something? Yes, please.
I was learning disability kids when I was in elementary school, and I got my IQ scores probably 78 score. That was pretty low, but I think my parents and my grandfather did not give up of me and give me a lot of chance to active with others, give me a chance to learn everything and active with normal people. So I got a lot of chance when I was young, when I was in elementary school, even in middle school. My parents sent me to sport camp. So that's why I was a weightlifter in Taiwan, but not international, just domestic level. And at that time, I think I learned different learning and different got experiences from others. So that's why I got a chance to go college, and I got a chance to go USA to study my PhD degree. So just for me, just remember everything. Give them a chance. You will do it.
Thank you, Dr. Zhou share his growing experience. Yes, Professor Ding.
Thank you for the very impressive presentation on disability and learning. I have questions. I noticed Taiwan usually would put disabled students in one professional school rather than integrating them into different, more regular schools. Do you think our policy right now is wrong? We should return students to normal schools, or what we should do to correct the problem? Thank you.
Tough question. Well, that's far away from my expertise. But Dr. Gao, President Gao, he got a lot of experiences of physical education and higher education. Can you help me?
Professor Ding's question about Taiwan's students with learning disability or with some disabled student. There are, as far as I know, there are 29 high school and elementary school special school for them, 29. And from 10 years ago, because of inclusion policy, so some students with learning disability, they do not attend the special school, rather they attend the school rather. But there is a class, especially for them, we call the sport class 资源班，就是每一个学校有一个资源班，所以是两种。So there are two models for students learning disability or students with a disability. They have option to choose.
Which one is better?
Which one is better?
On campus,
okay.
There's a disabled student, blind.
Okay. Yes, yeah. That's a special school. Yeah.
But for me, learning disability, I mean, people with learning disability, they are sent to normal school, not in special school. But people with mentally problem, I think they have to send them to special school to learn, to study.
So there's a kind of a disabled category, and also by degrees. More serious should go to professional school. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Ding's good question about Taiwan's. Please.
Thank you for your nice presentation, Professor. I'm from Japan. There's so many people have prejudice and discriminate people with disabilities. I'm from Japan, and many Japanese and even the teacher in school have prejudice and discriminate children with disability. And my question is, it's a simple. How do you think why people have prejudice and discriminate people with disability?
For me, I think we probably don't understand learning disabled students. They have problem about vigilance and impossible control. So that means they have hard time to control their mind to deal with other normal people. So if we can treat them, give them chance, it's slowly, tell them it slowly, they probably can understand and control themselves and deal with your normal people. That's the best way I do.
Yes, please.
Check. So thank you, Professor, for the interesting presentation. My name is Al Arda. I'm from Indonesia. I used to be a physical education teacher in elementary school in my hometown in Surabaya, and we really have the kind of similar situation, whether when we have the special children, and it's kind of tough for me as a physical education teacher to involve them into my class. It's not because we don't want to involve them, it's because we lack of resources, we lack of knowledge, we don't have enough support to create the class to help them improve on their physical fitness component. For example, if they cannot see, it's really hard for us to involve them into the game, the physical education class, for example. And the problem that they will probably get is they will have very bad cardiorespiratory and also physical fitness, of course, because they don't even walk appropriately. And in this case, we really expect, like, if there is a guidance for us, a PE teacher, that you can share, it would be very helpful. So there is some program from the Olympic Games, like the Paralympics Games, that also interesting for us because we can learn something that we can use. But unfortunately, we really have a few or limited access of resources that we can be used. And if I have a question, it should be like, could you give us how to make a simple and useful program, physical exercise program for everyone? How to design? Thank you very much.
Wow. That's a long question. I'm not really sure I can answer your question, but I might try. Okay. For me, we have a program of yoga activity and physical, aerobic, cardio endurance activity. We send all this kind of kids like ADHD, ASD or learning disability to the classes and then give them chance to play with them, give them chance to active in order to control their behavior. In order to control their behavior. After that, after 8 weeks or 10 weeks, their impossible and vigilance behavioral control to be good, and then I send them back to the class, and they can deal with most normal people. That is what I do. I'm not really sure I answer your question, but I totally forgot your questions.
Maybe I can share some experience with you. In the PE class, you are a PE teacher, but in the class, some of the students with some kinds of learning disability. In Taiwan, we developed so-called adapted PE, or adapted physical activity for these students with special needs. Especially the PE class. We need to develop different approach, different ways to help them participate in proper physical activity. But to be frank, in Taipei, most of the schools do not provide proper teachers with the speciality in adapted PE, and only a few that we can help. That's at this stage we try to training more and more PE students with the special education background. Together, we hope we can have more faculties, teachers can help students with special needs. Yeah. Yes, we have 4 minutes around.
Sorry.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Professor, for the presentation. My name is Benny, I'm from Finland. About the physical education for children with disabilities, some Paralympic sports are something that people, most of them are sports that people without disabilities can do. Is it possible that in classes you play like, I don't know the right terms, like sitting volleyball or the game which is played by people who can't see, like, because everyone could participate there, like have classes with Paralympic sports and like people without disabilities will enjoy them also and everyone will be included in the class.
Sometimes I developed a WP for in elementary school for let kids play with disabled students. So for me, for your question, I think yes, we can do it sometime, but not most of the time.
Thank you. Any questions? Yes, please.
Thank you for your presentation. I am Rasul from Iran. What is the physiological limitation for this person, disabled person, to enter in physical activity? I think there are many physiological limitations for disabled person to enter to a sport, and we want to clear this limitation, physiological limitation, and then start to physical activity. What is physiological limitation for disabled person?
Physical disability. In my physical education program, I changed the facility. For example, we play basketball by our hand and run up by our leg. But I changed it. I use wheelchair to play. That is a good idea for a PE program. You think in this way, archery or ice hockey, also that kind of sport equipment, also you can change for people with physical disability. They can play, they still can join that, and they still can improve their physical conditioning. So that's my way in my physical education program.
Now, yeah, please.
Yes, I suppose it's the end of the session of questions and answers. And Professor Chen, let me thank you very warmly on behalf of FISU and the entire university sports community for your excellent speech about how powerful sport is as a tool for inclusion of our students with disabilities within our campuses. Thank you very much. And I have a gift for you from FISU, so you will remember about us and you will remain in touch with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I know that Professor is very busy and that he has another appointment, but will you stay with us still a few moments or you need to leave? Okay, great. So he will stay with us till the end of this plenary session. And indeed, it's time for the second keynote speaker. We will now move on to another continent, but not so far from here. Since we will remain in Asia, Oceania area, our next speaker comes from Australia. She's a general manager for education, training and risk at Australian University Sport. She's also continental manager in FISU, Oceania Continental Federation. She is honorary professor at Bond University, and her expertise in management of events, projects and programs has been recognized at FISU level since recently she joined us as a member of an expert group in the education committee. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Donna Spethman.
Ni hao. Hola. Bonjour. Or as we say in Australia, g'day. Can everybody say g'day? Can't hear you. G'day, excellent, good. Thank you so much for coming today. It's a pleasure to be here, and I think everyone will agree that the conference has been very informative, and it has also been a lot of fun, and hopefully everybody has met some wonderful people. I'd just like to thank the organisers. I think they have done an outstanding job, and also all the volunteers. I think they have done a great job as well. So today I'm here to talk to you about sport-friendly universities in Australia. But before we get to some case study examples, I'll just give you a bit of background. Australian University Sport is the National University Sport Federation in Australia. We are governed by our members, which are our universities, and we are also governed by the Australian Sports Commission, the Australian Olympic Committee, and also FISU. We've seen dramatic growth in sport on campuses in Australia. 10, 15 years ago, sport was featured within a student union or a student association area. Now, sport is a major department in campuses. It actually has moved and shifted from a student union area to be a department under often a vice-chancellor or other area. Sorry, I'm just going to work the clicker properly. Oh, there we go. Excellent, thank you. We're going to showcase 4 universities here today. They are 4 universities from 4 different regions of Australia, and they're all very unique and different in how they are a sport-friendly campus. But what is a sport-friendly campus? I've got to face the clicker the right way. There we go. As we deem at Australian University Sport, we deem a sport-friendly campus as one that embraces programs, embraces the community in which it lives, embraces everybody who steps foot on campus. It engages with everybody, from everyone from the Vice-Chancellor to the maintenance worker, to the person who comes and cleans on campus, to the person who visits their friends or family on campus. It's also inclusive. It involves everybody and has programs that range. Doesn't matter what your gender, what your ability is, it's inclusive for all. It's also accessible. It's very important to be a sport-friendly campus in Australia. It has to be accessible to everybody, not only the students on campus, but also those in the surrounding community. It also has to have variety. Most important, we all get bored if we're doing the same thing, so it has to have variety, and everybody has different thoughts and interests. And most importantly, it has to be supported by the university. It has to be supported from the Vice-Chancellor at the very, very top, right down to the people who walk on campus and the students. Who's been to Australia? Hands up. I know at least one person in the audience has. Who's been to Australia? 2, 3, a couple of people. That's great, thank you. I hope you had a good time when you visited. We're a pretty big country. As you can see, our population is quite small compared to the likes of America, Asia, and also Europe. Okay, maybe I need to move back here a little bit. There we go. We have over 1.3 million universities. That's 5% of our population is actually studying higher education. That's a high percentage. So there's a lot of people on campus that need to engage with not only their studies, but also it's very important for us to ensure that they have a healthy body and a healthy mind. So we're very, very proactive in ensuring that facilities on campus are available for everybody. We have 42 universities in Australia, and with all their different campuses, some of them have multiple campuses, either in the same city, or they might have a campus that's multiple campuses located across different cities. In total, there are 130 campuses. But if we look at the main campuses, as the map shows you, 14 universities can be considered metropolitan. So that's right in the city. 14 universities can also be considered suburban. So that's in the suburbs of a major city or a metropolitan area. And then there are 13 universities who we would be considered regional. And those regional universities are usually in country areas, areas that are well outside the metropolitan areas of the country. We love this picture. This is our water polo team from Gwangju last year, last Universiade, who won gold. And in Australia, we love sport. It's part of our community. We grow up with sport. We play sport at primary school and our junior school. We play sport on weekends. We follow our favourite team. If we're not very good at sport, we like watching sport. It is built into our community. Councils and cities are spending more and more money on ensuring that their community is healthy by having free programs such as yoga on the beach or fitball or CrossFit, is the word I'm looking for, CrossFit events and fitness activities that are right across the city in parks and swimming pools, and they're often free. Our community really, really wants to engage with sport. And one of the other great things we love about sport is when we have winning teams like this, we love to sing with pride our national anthem. We really love to watch our sports heroes on the sporting field in football codes across the state all year round. We love to watch cricket in the summer in the biggest stadiums. We cheer for our heroes such as Kathy Freeman, who won a beautiful gold medal at the Sydney Olympics in the 400 metres. We love sport. And sport in Australia is governed and funded from the national government down to the local governments. This just gives you a quick little snapshot of how sport is funded. Our main funding agent is the Australian Sports Commission. They in turn will fund the national sports federations, who in turn will assist and fund the state and then the local associations. But it's not the only way our sports have an income of money, not only from funding but also participation fees and sponsorship and membership. Membership is very big in Australia to be a member of your sport or your club. And in university sport, we can categorise sport into 4 levels. The bottom level, recreational sport. This is what everybody can play. You don't really need to turn up if you don't want to turn up. If you want to come this week, you can come this week. If you want to miss a couple of weeks, that's okay too. Recreational sport is usually free and everybody can participate. Social sport is the next level up. It usually requires some kind of commitment. And we're talking a commitment of maybe committing to a team to play in a weekly or a monthly or a competition that goes for a certain period of time. Representative sport on campus is when you will have to represent your university, either in a local competition or at a university championship event. It will require selections and trials, and they will want to make sure that the best team is selected so that they can win the competition that they're entering. And then there is elite sport on campus, and this is for those high-profile athletes that are the best at their sport. And in Australia we have a program called the Elite Athlete Friendly University. It's a bit of a mouthful, but Elite Athlete Friendly University program. And it's run by the Australian Institute of Sport. But what that means is that universities can actually meet a set number of criteria and they can be classed as an elite athlete-friendly university. So if you are a student looking for a campus and a university to study, you can make a choice. If you are an elite athlete, This university might have more facilities and options available to you as an elite athlete than this university, so you will choose between the two. So today we are talking about 4 different universities, and our first case study is RMIT University. RMIT University are located in Melbourne, Australia. They're in Victoria, and they are a metropolitan campus. They are located right in the middle of the city. They have about 61,000 students, and they were founded in 1992. So they're a relatively young university. They have grand total of 1 basketball court. That's their only facilities, and you're looking at it on the screen right now. So this university has some very unique challenges. They do have a suburban campus, but not many students go to that campus. Their main campus is in the middle of the city. They have a number of programs. So at their recreational sport level, they have 31 clubs on campus. They run events such as Learn to Surf, and these programs are frequented by a lot of international students wanting to engage with Australian sport culture. In social sport, they play a number of inter-varsity competitions. They play against other universities, and they have lunchtime sport on this basketball court that you can see. Also doubles as a volleyball court, a futsal court. But at the moment, actually, they can't use that court because there is roadworks going underneath the city to build a road tunnel. So right now, they have no sporting facilities. For representative sport, they represent at a number of 40 university championships, and they are known also as an elite athlete-friendly university. So what do they do? How can they be a sport-friendly campus with no facilities? Well, actually, they thought this as well. 10 years ago, RMIT and sport wasn't recognised much on campus. In fact, they had a staff of 2 in their sport department. The staff of 2 wanted to make a change. So they focused on increasing the ranking of their university in the national university sport rankings. And they went from being 20th to 7th in the space of 5 years. They really put some effort into making sure that their representative sport was achieving results. This got the attention of the Vice-Chancellor. All of a sudden, sport was important. And with working with various departments on campus, they changed their strategy to include more sports programs, more things like Learn to Surf, more things such as lunchtime basketball, and they expanded their sports clubs on campus. But they still thought, oh, woe is me, we have no sports facilities. Until one day, one of their staff visited Coventry University in the United Kingdom. This changed their outlook. It's a similar university. Coventry University is in the middle of the city with no sports facilities. But what Coventry University do is look outside the university to find appropriate sports programs. So that's what RMIT staff did. They were all excited after visiting Coventry University. They came back to Melbourne and they thought, right, where can we find sports facilities that are near the campus? They started to look outside the footprint of the campus that is RMIT in the city. And they were amazed at what they found. So instead of thinking negative, they thought positive. They found things such as a health and fitness studio that was not being used in the evening with a nice wooden sprung floor. Now, that is where their martial arts teams train and practice. So because their martial arts clubs now have somewhere to practice and train, the membership of those clubs has increased. There is an indoor rock climbing centre near the university, all within 1 kilometre radius. They now have a rock climbing club and rock climbing competitions. There is an indoor swimming pool they didn't even know existed. Now that indoor swimming pool offers programs, learn to swim programs for new and international students. And there is also a golf warehouse. You might be thinking, this is a bit strange, a golf warehouse? How can that help being a sport-friendly campus? They have a virtual golf facility. So now the campus has virtual golf. How much easier is it to go down to the shop and play virtual golf than go to a golf course? They started to think outside the box, and this is very important for them. This strategy has improved the number of people that are on campus playing sport. And they're also very proactive in looking at how they can engage with the future student. We all know that the future student will be not on campus, they are online. So they are looking at how they can engage with the online student. And they're looking at ways such as activity trackers and having those students participate as the team RMIT in events such as the Melbourne Marathon or other triathlon or bicycle events. They're looking to do cycle competitions online using apps. So they're looking forward to esports, and they're engaging students more with esports. Now, whether you think esports is a sport or not is another discussion for another day. So RMIT are very progressive. They are really looking forward to the future student and how they engage with their students. Our second university is Macquarie University. Very different university. They have around 40,000 students, and they were founded in 1964, and they have 7 hectares of field space, as well as 2 swimming pools, a massive cardio fitness gym facility, a facility that has a weights room. It has a female-only area where females and women can go in and train at the fitness centre. They also have badminton courts, squash courts, netball courts, and they also have outdoor basketball courts. So you can see some pictures on the screen. You can see how big the field space that they have. Fortunately in Australia we have a lot of space. They have around 18 clubs on campus, but they have a lot of fitness classes. Fitness is big business in Macquarie University. And their social sport, intercollegiate competitions at lunchtime and the evenings are the most popular. In between, especially competitions between residential colleges, those students who are staying and living on campus. They represent in 35 university championships. They're also an elite athlete-friendly university, and they are one of 8 teams universities who have a team in the inaugural Women's Rugby Sevens competition that's currently being held in Australia. Sport is big business. In 2011, they spent a lot of money in upgrading their facilities because their community wanted it. The community engagement and people who go on campus to access the swimming pool and the fitness facilities has grown dramatically. They have an approach that they call cradle to grave. And cradle to grave. And what that means is every program on campus is required to offer programs from babies right through to elderly and mature-aged people and people in our community. Their swim school is fantastic at this. The swim school, the Aquatic Centre offers baby water awareness classes, toddler learn to swim for adults, swim squads, swim training, and as it goes up in age, a lot of mature age people like aqua fitness. So all their programs have to cater for everybody across the range. They're inclusive the whole way. There are also 20 schools that surround Macquarie University. That's primary and secondary schools. Every single one of those schools uses the sports facilities on campus. They have their swimming carnivals there. They have their athletics carnivals there. They play sport on campus in the afternoon that they play sport, whether that be afternoon as part of school curricula or whether that's after school competitions. Over 80,000 people use those sports facilities, and Macquarie University are also associated with the professional teams as well. Sydney FC are a football club that play in our Australian Football League. And those people who come on campus to watch the football team train, those parents that bring their children to swim school, or bring their children to gymnastics, or bring their child to badminton, or bring their child to another sport, are now starting to be a part of the fitness centre. They are joining. So it's big business. It's a money generator, but it's also providing a service, a health and fitness service to the community that's around. And of course the students have access to all of these wonderful facilities as well. Our next university is the University of Queensland. This is a metropolitan university. It's located in inner west Brisbane. Has a population of about 50,000 and it's one of our older universities that was founded in 1910. They are very fortunate to have over 1,600 hectares of fields and sporting space, which is pretty impressive. They have 2 swimming pools, a full athletics track, 15 field space, 21 lit tennis courts. They also have 10 junior tennis courts just for little kids to play tennis. And they have badminton courts, a massive fitness centre, indoor basketball courts, squash courts, the list goes on. They are very fortunate to be on a very big footprint on the planet. I think I might have a picture here. That's the footprint. I know it's a little difficult to see, but the next pictures are something I want to share with you. You can see up the top the athletics track. And then the tennis courts and the swimming pool. This is all field space. This is all field space down here along the river. So they're quite impressive facilities. They have to get the balance right though, because they've got these fantastic facilities. They have demands from students who live on campus, so that's their backyard. They have community groups, they have sporting teams, they have national federations that want to hold their national events on their campus. So they have to balance and maintain the levels of demand, and this is getting more and more difficult, especially with climate change and the fact that grass fields don't last all year round. Balancing this usage is really, really important for UQ. So University of Queensland, they have a different pricing structure. If you're a student, it's cheaper to hire facilities. If you are a community group, it's cheaper to hire facilities. But if you're a national sports federation, it's going to cost you more. They also have a philosophy that is participation for life. And this is really important for University of Queensland. They consider that if you're a baby and you come to learn to swim at the University of Queensland swimming pool, chances are you live close by. So you're going to come and learn to swim. Then you might come along and have an athletics carnival or a swimming carnival there for your school. Then you may come and train there as part of your club sport that you play. You may then come and participate at the university at the national championships for your sport. So hopefully by the time you're ready to choose a degree, and if you choose to go to further study, the University of Queensland is in your mind already. So participation for life is very strong. There was one thing that happened in 2011 that actually destroyed everything University of Queensland worked hard for. We had some severe floods. So you can see now, looking at the top and the bottom screen, they lost all of their sporting facilities. This was terrible. It was a dramatic weather event that hit our country, or in Brisbane, and they absolutely lost everything. You can see the athletics track and the swimming pool, and the swimming pool's underwater itself. Not very nice to swim in. It's a long recovery for University of Queensland. Their sporting fields, it was just awful to look at it. As sports people, we all get sad at those photos. But they bounced back and they recovered well. And they spent an enormous amount of money on infrastructure and capital projects to ensure that their university was back at the top of being a sport-friendly campus. They built 2 swimming pools. They also then moved to solve a couple of problems on campus. One, a lack of parking, because there's never enough parking on campuses. And number 2, the use of sporting fields all year round. So they built a car park and built synthetic sports pitches on top. So now they've killed 2 birds with 1 stone, as we would say. So now there's plenty of parking. Now there is sports facilities that can be used all year round, all day, without damaging the fields. So this has been a great achievement for the University of Queensland. And I think you will agree that coming back from those floods and that devastation has ensured that the participants and the people come back to campus, and they are as busy as ever, if not even busier, especially with the new synthetic field. Our final university, I could talk all day about our universities, but we do have to limit it. So I've limited it to 4, and this university, Curtin University, is located in Perth. It's a suburban campus. It's located in southwest Perth, and they have a number of facilities. They have around 60,000 students, and they were founded in 1967. They have a massive stadium that is used for graduations, show court basketball, and then the stadium can then split into 4 basketball courts. They have a fitness centre, sports ovals, beach volleyball courts, and they also have tennis courts. But they have a wider vision. And Curtin University is no different from the other universities I have spoken about. They still play recreational sport and have sport programs. They have sports clubs. They participate at university championships. They are associated, and they are an elite athlete-friendly university. And they also have an association with a number of national sporting programs, such as our hockey program is actually run out of Curtin University, because they have 2 fabulous hockey turfs, and that's field hockey, I should clarify. But they have a master plan. Curtin University is quite a large space on the campus, and the idea is that 25,000 people will be living on campus in 5 years' time. 25,000 people. That's a mini city. They're looking to change Curtin University into a mini city. They will have businesses at the bottom, underneath, on the ground level of shops, and apartments at the top. Students and the community will reside on campus. So with that strategy and vision, Curtin Sport have to move with the times. And they are really fortunate that they have a place at the table, and they are when the whole university master plan is discussed. So when all the people from different departments get together to talk about the future strategy and what the campus will look like in 5, 10 and 15 years' time, sport is there with them. Sport is putting their hand up and going, hey, let's help. If we're going to have 25,000 people living on campus, we need to improve our fitness centre. We need to improve our hockey centre. We need to improve our beach volleyball courts. Unfortunately, with the master plan, development happens, and they have lost some sporting fields and tennis courts. But it's a bus. What is going into the space that they have lost is a bus transport system, and it's a bus transport hub that will see 150 buses every hour come past the campus. And the buses come right next door to this stadium. And in this stadium is a coffee shop. So they're looking to expand their coffee shop. Why do you think they're going to expand their coffee shop? A little bit more income from all those people catching the buses and getting off the buses, and they need their morning coffee fix. So they're also looking at ways that they can raise revenue from this new master plan. And this is really, really important for the whole of university. And they have the support, as I said, from the Vice-Chancellor all the way down to the maintenance worker. Sport is big business on campus, and with a rapidly growing population, they need to make sure that they're heard, and they are being heard. So, although we only have a brief time, and I could talk all day about all our campuses, because every one of them has unique experiences and unique facilities and programs, we can recap on what makes a sport-friendly university. It's one that embraces and engages with the community. RMIT are doing this very well. They now have partnerships with people outside of the university footprint, within 1 or 2 kilometre radius of the university, that they never had before. They may have sponsors, new contacts, new sponsorships, new people, new business. They're inclusive and accessible, and Macquarie University do this very well. The Cradle to Grave program at Macquarie University that involves everybody. No matter what the program is, it's got to cater for babies through to mature age people. Campuses, sport-friendly campuses have to offer a variety of programs, services and facilities. University of Queensland do this excellent. Look at all those facilities they have. Sport-friendly campuses also engage student and on-campus personnel. And Curtin University are doing this extremely well by having a seat at the table when it comes to the Curtin future strategy. And of course, all 4 of those universities are supported by the whole university. Sport is now big business. And Vice-Chancellors are sitting up and taking notice that sport is not only a good business to revenue raise, but it is also important to balance study so people have a healthy body and a healthy mind. Thank you for your time today. I do only have a short time with you, but I do welcome any questions, and I am around for the afternoon if anybody wants to come and chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for a nice presentation by the Donna Spaceman, the General Manager. And she provided 4 cases in Australia, the university's situation. And they embrace and engage with the community, inclusive and accessible, and they provide a variety of programs and supported by the whole university. So now we open the questions from audience.
Maybe everyone wants to go home early. Oh, no, we have a question in the middle. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Stephen. I'm a filter from Nigeria, a leader of delegation of Nigeria. The paper you have presented is quite impressive. What a beautiful campus or beautiful campuses in Australia. The synergy between the community and the university is quite good. Now, we in Africa and some parts of Africa and some parts of the world where we are experiencing terrorism and insurgency may not be able to have the town and the gown synergy when it comes to sports, because our campuses are secured in such a way that we will not want to allow members of the community that are not on campus to come and have some fun on sports. So, is there a way you feel we can make it possible for participation to be at leverage level to allow members of the community to come into the universities and engage in sports so that they can also benefit from the sports that we offer in our universities? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. That's a great question. And it is so true. There are many, many university campuses across the world that are in areas that are struggling because of insurgents or other political incidences that are occurring in their country. I would suggest maybe, obviously you have students on your campus, that maybe you can start with the families of the students. Let's face it, all our families want our children to succeed, and we want to support our children. So if I had a child at university, I would like to support them. So maybe you could start with contacting the parents and asking them to come on campus and be involved as a community of parents or relatives that are of people studying at your university. That could be a first start, something simple. They have a connection with the university already because their child is studying there, and therefore if they have a connection already with the university, they are committed to supporting their child and the university. They want the university to make their child have a good education. So that could be a great way to start. Dialogue is always a great way to help build bridges. And dialogue, perhaps, it's difficult to, every situation will be different, but perhaps dialogue with local government, just the community around the university, not the community all the way over here. Don't worry about them, worry about them later. Maybe the immediate community, because not only have you got parents that are engaged and connected to the university, but you have cleaners, you have people who work in administration, you have people who work in the library, you have people who work on campus. So not just the students that are the people that are connected to the university via the students, but the people who are connected to the university via their loved one that works there. That could be a way to start to increase the community for your university, as a starting point perhaps. But I'd be happy to talk to you after. Thank you.
Yes.
There's a question right at the back.
Yeah.
Thank you for the excellent presentation. I'm from Hong Kong Baptist University. And we know that in Australia, you have a Australian Sport Institute in Canberra, okay, mainly to train those elite athletes. So can you share with us how the collaboration and cooperation between the university program and also the AIS in Canberra to nurture those elite athletes? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Yes, I can. For those of you, just to give you some background, we spoke earlier about the funding for sport in Australia, and it comes from the Australian Sports Commission. There is another part to the Australian Sports Commission called the Australian Institute of Sport, and it is where programs are run for elite athletes. The Australian University Sport, Australian Institute of Sport have a number of state institutes. In Australia, our country is divided into states, and there are institutes in each state as well. And we also have a personal excellence program, and this is run by the Australian Institute of Sport in conjunction with our office, Australian University Sport. And that personal excellence program is one that we work considerably with universities to ensure that the elite athlete has the opportunity to go to university, to an elite athlete friendly university, and that their personal excellence is not just about them performing on the field, but the support that they receive from their parents, their friends, their coach, their physiologist, their biomechanic, their nutritionist, their university. So the Australian Institute of Sport is very invested in our elite athletes, and they try and link with each of the universities in Australia via the Elite Athlete Friendly University program. Now each university can choose to be a member and meet the criteria for Elite Athlete Friendly universities. It's up to them. They can offer the minimum requirements, or they can offer more. It is up to them and their facilities. The University of Sydney is a very big university with a lot of sporting facilities and a lot of support for elite athletes. So they offer an enormous amount of support for their elite athletes, and they have a lot of elite athletes that go to that university. So the Australian Institute of Sport is working with us to ensure that our universities can provide as much support as possible for elite athletes. I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Any questions? Yeah, please.
No, you have a question?
Thank you for the opportunities. That was very interesting.
Oh, I've got two people. Sorry, where's the first question? Oh, hello, go.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry.
So, should I go? Okay.
Sure, please.
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunities. That was very impressive and interesting presentation. My name is Al Arda again, and now I'm going to introduce myself as a lecturer in the State University of Surabaya, in Indonesia. In order to be a sport-friendly campus, we have to provide a good accessible for the society or community, right? But here is the thing that we face in our university. We have very limited facilities. We don't have those huge facilities like Curtin University of Queensland. So the thing that we face, like, we have the court, we have the swimming pool, we have those facilities, but we use it for the daytime for the class purpose, like, because we also have the physical education department and sports science faculties. So in the daytime there will be so many classes there, and in the nighttime there will be so many students practicing in the club, sports club. So we really have no space. Maybe on the weekend, My question would be like how to manage this kind of condition if we want to provide the sport-friendly campus in our university. The second question would be like, do you have any ideal ratio of this, how many facilities that we have to provide and based on how many students that we have to serve, something like that. Thank you very much.
Sure, thank you for your question. You're already a sport-friendly university. You have a swimming pool. That's awesome. Your facilities are there and available for students. That is wonderful. But if you're looking to engage the community, I think that your university might be like RMIT. It doesn't have a lot of facilities, and the facilities that it does have are predominantly for students. So how else can you engage the other people that work on campus, not just the students? So how do you engage, as we were talking before, the library staff, the administration staff? How can you get them involved to be active on your campus? And you may have opportunities to be able to participate and have your university enter a team in the local marathon, for example. So you could have students and staff enter the Jakarta Marathon, and they can all run under the banner of your university. You're creating a community in an external environment, but you are still creating a community for your university. So that could be something that you could look at, but I would be happy, I know we're running short on time and we have one more question, so I would be happy to talk to you further after. Thank you.
Is it possible for us to listen to the question?
Yes, so one more question.
Yes, from France, please.
Yes, bonjour. Thank you very much. Thank you for your inspiring presentation. You talked a little bit about e-sport, and I wonder if you have some illustration from some Australian universities about e-sport facilities on campus.
I do. Thank you for a great question. Australian University Sport last year introduced the first ever university esports competition. It's called League of Legends, for those of you who might be interested in esports. League of Legends is an online gaming platform, and we recognise that more and more students are engaging with online gaming and online, not even online sports such as FIFA football, or the League of Legends is a fantasy game where you are a person that goes around and has to do lots of things and steal flags and defend your country. So it's a big business. We don't have any campuses that have specific facilities for esports. However, there is the people who own League of Legends are called Riot Games. That's the company. And they have a studio that is specifically built for League of Legends competitions in Sydney. So we are starting to utilise that facility. On campus, students are using libraries or lecture theatres. In the evening, students are hiring using lecture theatres such as this and hooking up their own systems to play esports on the big screen. So they are driving and motivating themselves and finding facilities. And we have more and more clubs on campus that are related to esports. We could talk about that for a long time, because I'm sure there are some people in the room that are going, esports? That's not sport. That's another debate. Thank you for your question.
Yeah. Thank you for nice questions and comprehensive answers. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you. 谢谢.
Donna, it was at the beginning of your speech you told us that sport is a part of the culture in Australia, and it was really amazing to see the way you have translated that concept into the way you have shaped your campuses so that these are extremely sports friendly. Thank you for sharing that with us, and on behalf of FISU and our entire community and the audience, let me thank you by delivering a small gift and souvenir from FISU. And thanks once again for your excellent and inspiring presentation. So our session came to the end. Now we are going to have a coffee break and then last parallel sessions. But please remember to be back at 5 o'clock here in this plenary session room for the closing ceremony. Thank you very much.